Good evening, everyone. We will begin the evening service of the Miroku Association headquarters. expressing our gratitude to God and Meishu-sama for the permission and protection granted us while participating today in God's divine plan of constructing a paradise on this earth. Let us pray together the Amatsu-Norito, Prayer of Heaven, followed by the Miroku Prayer. Please stand. 高天原にかむずまります。かむろぎかむろみのみこともしてすめにおやかむいざなぎのみことつくしのいぶかの立ち花のおどのあはぎはらにみそぎ払いたもうときになりまする。あらいどの狼たちもろもろのまがごと罪汚れを洗いたまえ清めたまえとまおすことのよしを天つかみ国つかみ青よろずの神たちともに雨の淵駒の耳振り立ててきこしめせとかしこみもまおす弥勒おみ神守りたまえ先晴れたまえ弥勒おみ神守りたまえ先晴れたまえ教えみよや主の神守りたまえ先晴れたまえ教えみよや主の神守りたまえ先晴れたまえかんながらたまちはえませかんながらたまちはえませ Great God of light, creator and giver of all life, in accordance with your divine will, the long age of night draws to an end. Your radiant divine light, shining ever more brilliantly, awakens the dawn of the glorious age of light, a time long awaited by all humanity. We thank you for guiding us to your divine plan, and for the privilege of channeling and receiving Johrei. May our spirits and bodies be illuminated and purified as we live your truth given to us by Meishu-sama. Make us pure and effective instruments of your divine light, so that we may serve you and all those with whom we come in contact. May paradise on earth be realized with health, peace, and prosperity, a reality in our lives. Great God of light, bless and protect us. Radiate our souls with your divine light, so that we may truly become instruments of your great plan. Please be seated. We will now receive group Johrei. Johrei is now concluded. Let us now listen to a reading from Meishu-sama's teaching. Guidance for living in this world. Know that in this world, some things should be said, some not. Those dedicated to the spiritual path should be mindful of their words. Individuals with great spirituality radiate something warm and loving, which can be felt by everyone around them. It is most pleasant to listen to those who speak of things as they are, frankly and truthfully. The qualities that are most lacking in people today are thoughtfulness and humility. Those who serve in God's work should pay particular attention to this. There is an easy way to tell how much your spiritual awareness has grown and to what degree your spiritual body has been purified. When you find yourself shunning conflict and becoming more thoughtful and humble, and this disposition is reflected in your attitude toward others, it is a sign that your spiritual awareness has been expanded. Here lies the value of true faith. Those who have grown to this level will win the love and respect of others, impressing them and as being living examples of their faith. A truly civilized society is one in which people foster high standards of proper behavior and philanthropic ideals. When the number of such individuals increases to the point where moral principles are adhered to by society as a whole, a genuinely pleasant world will become a reality. Such a world can be called a true paradise on earth, and it is within our grasp.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining the Miroku Association headquarters evening service. This evening, I want to share with you the faith experience of Yandara Sa Gomes. She's the mother of our missionary Vanessa Gomez Williams, who lives in the Chicago area, most specifically in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Yandara, who is now 68 years old, currently gives service at the Johrei Center in Maringá, Paraná, Brazil. She has been a Johrei member for 52 years, having received her sacred focal point or Hikari in November of 1969. Over these years, she has received countless blessings, but today Yandara would like to share with us her most recent one. When she was 47, Yandara began to experience breathing difficulties, and the medical diagnosis was asthmatic bronchitis. She was very surprised that this disease had manifested itself in her adulthood. For bronchitis, there is no apparent medicinal cure, as the available remedies are at best considered only tentative measures to help avoid or at least minimize an imminent respiratory crisis. And Dalar started a drug treatment protocol where initially she used the prescribed medicines sporadically. However, with the passage of time, the ongoing crisis continued, and her breathing issues got worse, and she started to use the medicines daily. After 18 years of continuous use to try to lessen her breathing difficulties, she began using them twice a day. Yet her breathing continued to be highly compromised, showing no signs whatsoever of any improvement. And Dara realized that the doses of the medicine now, ever larger, had virtually no beneficial effect. faced with this discouraging situation, which was only getting worse. In April of 2019, Yandara made the decision to stop taking the medication while she still had some physical vigor. She decided that she would seek a cure for bronchitis through the receiving of Johrei, acknowledging that illness presents itself as a way of purifying our body when solidified toxins reach their limit. And that I immediately prayed before the center's altar and asked Meishu-sama for permission to face her purification without the aid of medication. In the teaching The True Cause of Illnesses, Meishu-sama states that the process of illness is purification of the spirit. Taking Meishu-sama's words as absolute truth, she stopped using any medication for bronchitis with the aim of being granted a cure for her disease by way of receiving the divine light through the sacred Johrei. This purpose of hers was strengthened every day as she heard many reports from people who attested to the effectiveness of Johrei in curing serious or incurable diseases, like the very one she had been facing for so many years. Another reason that helped her decide to discontinue the medication was that it dawned upon her that many of her close ancestors had also experienced respiratory problems such as lung cancer and asthmatic bronchitis. She consciously set a goal of not perpetuating these diseases within her family line, considering the health and well being of her descendants, as her decision to search for a cure through Johrei was firmly established within herself. When communicating her decision to the minister, she was instructed to both receive and channel Johrei 10 times daily. The firm intention of following the guidance received, Yandara informed her family that she would stop taking the medicines and intensify the practice of Johrei. At that time, her husband, who was not a member, was apprehensive, yet he respected the decision that was also accepted by the whole family, and he facilitated support for her, providing the conditions for her to attend the Johrei Center each and every day, with the exception of Sundays, when the Johrei Center would close at 12 noon. Yandara would spend 6 to 7 hours at the Johrei Center daily. Coming home, she continued with the Johrei even while in the car, as she could not always fulfill the goal of receiving 10 Johrei while at the center itself. However, sometimes her breathing miseries intensified even while strictly following the guidance received. As she had stopped using medication, her respiratory abilities worsened considerably and sunk to below a 40% capacity. For this reason, performing any simple daily activities such as taking a shower, walking around the house, or to the Johrei Center, even talking, became very difficult. There were periods of consecutive days of breathing impairment, so severe that she was left discouraged, and on those days she found herself unable to channel Johrei only to receive it. However, Yandara had started to invest an hour a day reading the divine writings, which inspired strength, courage, and conviction for her to continue without medication. She went through very difficult times, often felt no appetite, would feel extremely weak, and lost a lot of weight. Interestingly, when she thought about giving up and going back to using medications, Yandara realized that all of the physical reactions that she was experiencing were in fact explicitly described in Meishu-sama's teachings. Remembering this and continuing to study the divine writings gifted her with perseverance to continue with the purification process without medications and, in contrast, placing her trust in Johrei. During this period, she understood that medicines give us comfort, but only Johrei provides cure. In gratitude for gaining this understanding, she made a special donation offering the full amount she had been saving to visit the sacred grounds of Japan. Additionally, she decided to review her family records of Sorei Saishi, the enshrinement of ancestors, and found that her paternal grandfather who died of asthmatic bronchitis, had not been enshrined. Yandara then spoke to the person in charge of the Ancestors Division at the center, who took steps to correct her disregard. During this time that she made the donation of gratitude in the amount she was saving to one day visit the sacred grounds of Japan, she was mind blown because within 2 months she managed to receive essentially the same amount by virtue of a favorable judicial settlement. Really, Meishu-sama always takes care of us. One day, when speaking with her minister, he suggested that she invite her husband to become a member. At that moment, she replied that this would not happen, but the minister suggested that Yandara accompany him to the altar and communicate with Meishu-sama and ask for his permission that her husband may receive the ohikari. Meishu-sama's answer was immediate. That very day, she went home and spoke with her husband. He replied that he would like to think about it. The following day, he asked her questions about the church, and they set up a talk with the minister. With the intention of channeling Johrei to Yandara, her husband received the ohikari in October of 2019, making the whole family very happy. After 8 months without using any medication and with gratitude for being blessed to be alive, Yandara made two more decisions: to commit to make a special donation for each of the next 6 months, thanking God for the deep purification she was experiencing, and asking to continuously receive strength for the cleansing of her spirit, and to increase her monthly gratitude donation by 100%. At the time, she always needed financial help from her husband. Yet, after adopting these decisions, Yandara was very surprised to realize that she no longer needed any financial help from him, and the money she was earning would be enough for the whole month. Most interestingly, she not needed to make cutbacks to her regular expenses. In November of 2020, that is, after a year and 7 months of dealing with her purification without taking medication, she returned to the doctor. It was with great anguish when she received the news that her lung capacity had not improved. According to the exams, the lungs remained with just 40% of respiratory capacity. In other words, her condition was still far from normal. She had many mobility difficulties. The bronchitis attacks were very intense and several times a day. This made her physical health very poor, as she was breathing badly 24 hours a day. Even so, she faced the discouragement, trying to overcome the fact of not being able to live the way she wanted. And with the support of family members of the Johrei Center, she continued firm in the daily attendance to the church to receive and channel Johrei. Yandara alternated days of a lot of confidence in healing with a few days of uncertainty and discouragement. As her husband became a member, and with his consent, they had the home altar dedicated November 11, 2021. And with that, the purification accelerated, giving her the feeling of getting worse. In the 10 days following the altar dedication, she had extremely difficult days when it came to breathing. However, on December 23rd, the day we celebrated Meishu-sama's birthday, she received his gift. It was on that day of the service that she had her last bout of bronchitis. After 2 years and 8 months, she faithfully followed the instructions received from the minister, and 45 days after the altar dedication in her home, she had her last crisis of bronchitis. To confirm the cure, she returned to the doctor on February 4th of this year, 2022. X-rays and respiratory capacity exams confirmed a clean lung and respiratory capacity that went from 40 to 80%. The doctor was amazed of how much improvement she had. She continues to receive and channel Johrei daily because she intends to reach 100% of her breathing capacity by the month of May. Currently, she performs any daily activity without difficulty, with great disposition and joy. In the teaching read in the morning and afternoon service of February 4th, Meishu-sama states, no matter how many honors and status we may have, none of this will make sense if we are suffering from diseases, a fact that she herself could experience. Yandara would like to emphasize that facing the period of purification without the use of medication requires obedience to the guidelines received, as well as perseverance and constancy that is acquired through daily readings of the divine writings. Therefore, it is a period when we stop living life the way we want, but to obey and be able to gain a healthy life again. Yandara is thankful for her family for the unrestricted support, the guidance received, to all the members who indirectly purified with her and tirelessly channeled Johrei to her. For blessings mentioned above and countless others received during these 52 years as Johrei member, she commits herself to continue dedicating intensely to the divine work, spreading Johrei to the greatest number of people. Yandara is especially grateful to God for being allowed to enter the Johrei faith and to Meishu-sama for the great legacy he left for humanity, which is the divine light of the sacred Johrei. Thank you very much for listening to this very powerful experience. I wish you a wonderful evening. Thank you.
This brings to a conclusion our evening service. Thank you everyone for joining us. We wish you a very blessed evening. Thank you.